So just the last one. So if you guys oppose this law that bans classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in K through 3, does the White House support that kind of classroom instruction before kindergarten?
Do you have examples of schools in Florida that are teaching kindergartners about sex education?
I'm just asking for the president's opinion.
I think that's a relevant question, because I think this is a politically charged, harsh law that is putting parents and LGBTQ plus kids in a very difficult, heartbreaking circumstance. And so I actually think that's a pretty relevant question. Go ahead.
What's up, everybody? Major retired Richard Ojeda here, in the ongoing sparring match between White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki and Fox News' very own witless sap of a reporter Peter Doocy continues. Their latest clash was on Florida's infamous Don't Say Gay bill, a piece of trash legislation designed to stoke fear, anger, and hostility out of the wacky religious fundamentalist right-wingers in an effort to drive them to the polls to save Ron DeSantis' sorry hide.
Does the White House support that kind of classroom instruction before kindergarten?
Do you have examples of schools in Florida that are teaching kindergartners about sex education?
I'm just asking for the president's opinion.
I think that's a relevant question.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Psaki, like always, rebuffed Doocy's incessant prodding as he tried to justify the nonsense piece of hate legislation, insinuating that kids in Florida are being taught sex education before kindergarten, a preposterous claim, which Jen Psaki asked if there was any hint of evidence Doocy could provide to back his claim. And like all Republicans, he had none to offer. That's how Republican politics works. They write legislation for two purposes, either to support their own financial interests or to support their re-election prospects. And they bank on the fact that their voters won't ever read a single word of any of it. If they ever did and understood it, they'd find out pretty quickly that their political heroes are actually their worst abusers. Do you ever stop to consider why people like DeSantis are motivated to run for office? Don't be shocked when I tell you that it's not selfish service to neighbor or nation. You don't earn the name Death Santis because you're a noble humanitarian. No, these Jacquelines are so bent on seizing power because they're deathly afraid of actual work. When you have no morals and no actual skills, money speculation is your only meal ticket. Manipulating tax codes and labor laws to lie, cheat, bribe, and extort your way to the top becomes their all-consuming purpose in life. But it's difficult to get elected on a platform like that. That's why Republicans haven't won the national popular vote in a generation. But con men will always exist so long as there are suckers to leech off of. And so Republicans spend most of their resources in office on propaganda, and they simply cannot do without their stooges like Peter Doocy at Fox News to pull the wool over the voters' eyes. Basically, the Don't Say Gay bill amounts to electioneering and legislation. The bill does nothing but divide people into a fascist us versus them ploy, because the evil Republican propagandists identify the psychological mechanisms of primal anger and irrational fear as the strongest motivators for those who have no control over their emotions. And luckily for Republicans, that's their voter base. It's awesome that Psaki calls out these political lackeys masquerading as journalists like Peter Doocy. He's complicit in the game because he sniffs profit, and like a true Republican, he has no problem selling out his entire country for a bump in his private portfolio. So Doocy wants to push the rhetoric to paint his buddies as some wise and noble heroes looking to save the day. But of course, all of this spin is nothing but a baseless lie, and Psaki pinned this scoundrel to the wall with that fact. It's going to take people like Jen Psaki and honest journalists to relay matters of objective fact and be willing to look at what is really being proposed in Washington. You know, in poll after poll, an overwhelming majority support all the ideas proposed by the Democrats, but there still ends up being a mass of morons voting against their own interests. And that's because of this fear-mongering and hatred-stoking politicians like DeSantis and the putrid lackeys like Peter Doocy propping him up. And that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.